and meeting virtually. Thank you for recording, Jim. And meeting virtually, you know, as a result, the city of Tonawanda has been declared a yellow zone, and the Common Council proactively made a decision to meet virtually instead of at City Hall. So, you know, we'll certainly evaluate the situation for next week as well. Now, does anybody have anything before we kick it off?
I don't.
Okay. All right, so let's start with Sean's proposal. He proposed, everybody has it, $66,589 in cost savings, and then moving $138,735 into a contingency line. And Sean, please feel free to step in. Did anybody have any specific questions for Sean on what he proposed?
Are we moving those numbers to the contingency line now, or is that worst case scenario contingency line?
Well, that's what Jenna asked me beforehand. And again, I talked about this at the last meeting. I kind of feel it's a great idea to do a plan A, plan B, plan C, but my fear is how do we implement that if, you know, when the case arises? I mean, we did it in June this year. We made some cuts and stuff. My thought using this contingency, moving some of this in there, is to kind of look at it and say, all right, these are the what ifs that might not be able to happen. So if they can't happen, let's quantify them, put them aside, and then make some real hard decisions as the opportunity arises. Or in the meantime, as we move on to that point, you know, maybe find some alternates to save the city money and to kind of do some different things. So my whole idea is, yeah, that's 138,735 into a contingency. And I had specifically asked if we could add a separate line because there is a contingency line that's already in there. And, you know, just so we can kind of earmark this as specifically to things that we want to reconsider as the opportunity arises. So yeah, and it's mostly Parks and Rec stuff. Mostly these programs that didn't happen this year that we had to go in and cut. And we had to scramble around and, you know, make Mandy do some extra work and say, all right, make this work. Let's shut this stuff down. We're doing everything. I'm just saying, let's kind of plan for the worst now. And as things arise, it's not out of the budget, but it's in the budget. And if things don't arise, you know, hopefully maybe we can realize these savings at the beginning of the year. And my whole thought too is, I know how we talk about different parts of the budget and say, all right, well, maybe we can take a little bit from this, a little bit from that. Well, I'm just kind of saying, let's just earmark this that we don't mess around with. There's some good opportunity in here. Some of the stuff I did look at to reduce, but you know, like the fireworks, there's $12,000 that's budgeted in there. I reduced it to half and then put that other half in the contingency line. When I had sat down with the mayor's office, he said, you know, we're not going to do the North Tonawanda one. There's not a participating one. So that can be reduced in half that we're only having one, but still put that into the contingency line. So, you know, we can have a huge gathering and people are allowed to get back out and we can do the fireworks. Awesome. It's in there. It's earmarked for it. We have an idea to spend it. If not, we can't do it. All right, that's 6,000 that hopefully goes back into the general fund for next year. I mean, and those are just like the highlights of it.
I have a question for Bill. Have you heard any updates on tax revenue? Are we, not tax revenue, but
sales tax or
yeah, sales tax revenue. Are we still on track, or are we going to be as low as that could possibly be predicted as 400,000 lower than what we thought?
I haven't received any additional information. I've been watching communications from Stefan Mahalu and Mr. Polenkars to find out what their feeling is. I know in next year's budget we already did drop it a couple 100,000, which is in the 5% range, I believe, is what we tried to do. With the feeling that if it came back, we should see that bounce back up. Now we're starting to see the return. That could be an area where if you wanted to carve out more and build for that. The state aid we left alone under the mayor left that alone after talking to people that he has in Albany. They felt that that was a pretty good bet that we would receive that money. And I don't know what November 3rd did to change anything there, if it made it stronger or weaker. I know we're more conservative than NT was, but we might still want to be somewhat more conservative than the mayor was if we really felt that that's going to drop. I won't know state aid until 12/15. I won't really see the final sales tax payment. Third quarter is December 31st. We get the check. We'll probably find out on December 30th what the amount is. And then we get one more payment at the end of March that we take a third of that and put it back into this year. So I haven't really been told that it's, from what I've seen from the flowing graph that they send out, we're still right around that 8 or 9%.
Okay,
where we were at
I was just, my main concern was having to backfill for any loss that we had
I'm
anticipated.
very concerned also, yes.
So do you think it would be a good idea to plan for more of that, or?
I would always support that. An accountant will always suggest. That's why I was good with what we were talking about of making cuts and putting into contingency, because I didn't want to take it right off the tax increase. I think it might need to be there to offset any revenue shortfalls. And if we were making cuts specifically in anticipation of a revenue shortfall next year, I would suggest that the cuts are made and put the contingency, so it's, because you can't change the revenue line. So that would be a way to accomplish changing the revenue line, is to take it out of a expense line, putting it to the contingency line. And then you still have it. If the revenue is there, you can restart things, and that would be a special council contingency line. Nothing would come off of that unless the council specifically approved it. And you still have that authority. I mean, to move outside of the main bulk numbers, the council has to approve it now also. So you'll be getting that probably first part of December. We'll be asking you for some changes, moving some money from contingency up to legal, and moving some money around for some large items that weren't foreseen in DPW and things like that. But that's usually the first and second meeting in December. We ask you to help pass those. So.
Okay.
Now, not included
Thank you.
in Sean's proposal is the $15,000 that I think we all identified was an opportunity in the street lighting. The $500 to 100-413, the council line, 100-481. We had suggested 1,500, reducing that. And I know we talked about the travel line, and that's $4,000. So those were some lines. But Bill, with what Sean proposed, what would that reduce the tax levy to?
Sean's proposal took it to an even 6 on the levy and probably 5.9 on the tax increase, in that range. And then I did calculate loosely some of the things we've talked about in previous meetings with the lighting. And that actually brought the levy down to 5.85 and the tax rate down to 5.72 if we took all of your suggestions so far.
Okay. And then I know there was the fire department body armor in bonding that.
Right, that's over in capital, and honestly, I know we still have the roof in there and we didn't put the body armor in yet. That would be a change over on the capital line. And the body armor would be less than the roof. And hopefully we can still grant fund it too. So.
What would that cost if we paid that out over a 10-year period? What would we pay out in interest? Ballpark.
2% a year, we figured it was about 50,000 in body armor. I mean, I kind of heard numerous plans for how much they wanted to purchase, what the best idea was. So if we're saying it's 50, that's $1,000 a year?
The body armor was 26,000.
26, okay. Again, I've heard so many suggestions on arming everybody, having so much in the firehouse, different types, so I haven't really gotten a final number on that.
Can I please make a suggestion on that? On the fire department body armor? That we take that money and put it into the council's contingency line?
Well, right now it's over in capital, so you'd be bringing that into the budget?
Oh, no, never mind that. But because there's a lot of concern, you can't just buy them for small, medium, large. And there's potential union issues if we go ahead and do this. There's got to be departmental changes and mandates for how they're implemented and rolled out to the fire department. Like I was saying last time, if there isn't a mandated wear clause from the fire department, they do no good. They have to wear them all the time at everything. Or else they're just hanging in the background like a rain jacket. You know, it's raining outside, oh, my rain jacket's at home. They have to wear them all the time. You can't just sit them around and have, 20 small, medium, and larges. It doesn't work that way. And other departments, they have to purchase things out of their own personal money in order to have these. So, while I'm not against it, before we go ahead with it, I think we need more information from the department on how they're going to deploy these. Are they going to mandate that they wear them?
Tom, do you know the answers to that?
I do.
Okay,
This is not like your normal bulletproof vest that the police department wears. This is basically tactical gear. So it only gets deployed when there's such as a mass shooting incident where the fire rescue have to come in and, God forbid, rescue police officers or even civilians from a mass shooting incident. So they can safely, at least with some protection, get in. That comes with triage kits and such that it's all packed into these kits. So it's just like a wear over your body kind of stuff. It's different than bulletproof vest. That's why there's like a 12-year lifespan versus your 2-year or whatever it is on bulletproof vest. It's a different type of equipment. So it's not everyday wear kind of thing. And hopefully it's a never wear kind of thing in the city. But based on what happened with our one shooting incident, and fire was there also and took fire. So these are the kind of things that because of what happened, we need to be prepared for this stuff moving forward.
See, and that wasn't how it was presented to us the first time. That's where I think we needed clarification from the department on how they're going to use these and employ these. I mean, if they feel it's necessary, by all means, but
Dave?
so the body armor, we're keeping in the capital and we'll pay for that over 10 years?
My understanding, because when the chief came in to talk to us, he was willing to trade the roof repair for the body armor. My comment to the chief was, because it's capital, I would put both in. And then when we
Right.
get to it in March, when it's time to talk about bonding, by then we'll actually have a much firmer plan. The firefighter that is working on that for the chief and would be able to say, okay, here's the dollars, and be able to give the council more comfort on what the usage and what they want. And then you would go ahead at that point and bond it or not. I mean, every year you can say no to certain things that were in the capital budget and we don't go ahead and bond those. So if you keep it in capital or even add it to capital, because I don't believe it's there right now. I think it was just always, we'll trade the roof for the body armor.
It's not.
I would put both in there and then discuss it in March and keep that in the forefront. And when it's time to actually go ahead and bond, when we have the bond discussions in April, we'll have you'll know. You'll make sure everyone's on board and you'll have the numbers. And if you truly need it, I think you truly need the roof too. So I would rather bond both than trade one off for the other. And it's under capital, so it's divided over the 10 years. And $6,000 isn't an outrageous sum of outlay. And we might have funds. Some of the funds that we have, the 60,000 that was there was hoses. A lot of it was hoses. Kevin Hardwick was generous this year, and we were able to help the fire department with some hose purchases this year. So, you know, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what money and grants will come. So by March, we'll have a better handle on where we're heading with COVID. So.
I
So
think
believe
does
in a-
everybody,
Sorry.
Well, just a quick question, Bill, just to clarify, because I might have got those numbers right. So if I'm looking at that 202 line for the equipment under fire,
Mhm.
for the 60,200, I actually put aside the 25,200, thinking that was the roof and the
no,
body armor. So that's one or the other. So in either case, that could be taken in the capital budget. So we wouldn't reduce that by any more than that line item amount.
And I truly believe, I could be wrong. I guess I have to ask the chief one more time. I thought we had that in capital already.
Okay.
the roof is in the capital,
Right, and I don't think the body armor is in either. Right
No.
now. That was a trade-off. So
correct. The
So
body
I guess
armor
what
was
is that?
26, the body armor is 26,635. The roof replacement is 55,000. So the chief wanted to take the roof out and add the body armor in.
So out of that 60,000, I guess that's my question is, would we be able to reduce that 60,000 by the 55,000 for the roof and put that into capital? And take that off that line item? Is that what I'm looking at?
again, I don't think that line item has either. I'm doing a quick ad on the Chiefs here. So
The
The 202 line was for hoses, right, Tom?
So
It was
that's just
hoses,
60,000 in
bunker
hoses.
gear, boots, gloves, Nomex,
Right.
the whole 9 yards.
I have a list if you want me to read it off. It was
Please.
$11,000 for bunker coats and pants, $450 for helmets, $1,600 for boots, $1,000 for hoods, $600 for gloves. We had $3,360 in attack hose and $4,320 in our 2.5-inch hose and $5,000 in the 5-inch hose for the hydrants. We had $7,200 for SCBA cylinder replacement. We had $1,200 for SCBA maintenance. We had another $3,500 for radios and $2,000 for nozzles and another $2,000 for foam. ESO software update, which is something we have to do every year. That's the cardiac monitoring software upgrade we pay for. That's $7,300. The Knoxbox secure system. We have 1670. The fire department purchased some of that this year. This would be more. They want to put that on buildings so they can have keys there. And they have Lexipol, which I believe is their computer that they use to track fire scenes and keep their fire attack plans in the trucks on laptops, and that's $8,000 annual maintenance fee. So that adds up to $60,200. So that's what the chief's budget breakout. He did a very nice job in doing his budget there. So.
Oh, very nice. I didn't have that detail, so I think I was overestimating that line. So I apologize. So that's why I'm discussing it.
Okay.
We still have an issue with the overtime line in fire as well, because it was reduced to 144, Bill, 146.
143, but I actually took that and moved it to the disabled, the money we have set aside for firemen who are on disability. So when we discussed it with the chief, the idea was if currently we're manning some of the stuff for people that are on comp, if they were to take we're able to be put over to disability, then that would be moved there. So we budgeted for it there. But the 30,000 we moved out of overtime and the 15 we moved out of comp time was a direct transfer to the disabled, to the firefighters under disability retirement. So, and I spoke to the chief. I said, if it doesn't move to that line, we would just move it all back over. So the dollar for dollar was the same. It's just where I had it on the budget. And then that line got taken off of fires grouping 2 years ago, but it's down on the bottom for firefighters. So it's actually the same amount. We just moved it to where we thought we might actually need it in the following year, but it's there to move back if it's not needed down there. So the chief, I think, understands we didn't actually take anything away. We just moved it from comp and overtime down to that firefighter disability line on the bottom.
So can we just go back to the capital? Bill, I agree with you. I recommend that we keep the roof, add the body armor, and we can address it in March. And this also gives the chief an opportunity to pursue grants, FEMA grants, and perhaps secure a grant that way. Is everybody on the same page?
I am. Just a quick question on that though. So if we take that out, or that wasn't in that line anyways, we put it into the capital, does that, the payment and interest go into 2021 or do the payments start until 2022? I'm just wondering how that affects the budget
2022.
this for 2021. So it doesn't affect 2021.
It
No.
would not.
Okay.
No.
No, I just wanted to be clear on that.
Same thing with the cardiac monitors.
Right.
Those were in the capital, but we won't see those till 2022, right, Bill?
It sounds like the grant is actually moving through under Robin's leadership, so we
Good.
should actually see that sooner and the purchase will be made.
Perfect, okay.
Just to
I do
recap,
have a quick question too in regards to the body armor. Is there any sort of spec sheets that we possibly can get so that we can look at that and see what exactly it entails?
I think we'd have to have
The
that
chief-
for the bonding because they have to know what the life cycle or how long
Right.
they'll be able to put it over. So I'm sure before we even get to that point, we'll be able to get all together for the bond council.
Because we have to put that out for an RFP too, correct? Or no?
To the extent there's more than one vendor, we'll see.
Well, it should be state bid.
I would imagine that the fire department would just state that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to read up on it and see exactly what's entailed on it. You know, my husband's company makes body armor for the military and a lot of our police. So I've
Okay.
been doing a little bit of research as far as that goes. So there should be some specs on there and they're rated for different instances that may come up.
Okay. And that line for the supplemental retired disabled firefighters, it's 9085-800. And that's where you see the 45,000 addition. So it's there, it's just not in the same line anymore.
Okay,
I said one more thing, just as far as the hose is concerned and the bunker gear. Put money in line for the bunker gear because it's just like bulletproof vest where it does become non-certified at a certain point. So they need to have replacements available, basically. And as far as the hose, they did attempt to apply for a grant for hose, but I believe they were denied that. So that's why it's also in the budget.
And I think the rules require you have to replace it every so often, otherwise you're out of compliance. And so-
Yeah, it takes a
That's
beating.
really that's not even an argument at that point. If we don't give them the right bunker gear, it's gonna cost us more in comp or a lawsuit. It's not, if we need it, we know how many people we need it for. It's not something we can be cheap on.
When was the last time the bunker gear was changed out? Do we know?
It's not a full change now. It's only for 5 firefighters. Some of those will be new hires. It's usually
Okay.
what, 5 or 7 years, Tom?
I honestly don't know offhand the actual timeline on that. Sometimes when we get new volunteers as well, we need to obviously suit them, when they become active.
We still slide down the career fire gear down to them, or do we have to pick up? I know in the old days, I always got old career gear. I don't know what they do anymore.
I think they take some of the old gear and give to for the Explorer boats.
Okay,
I think they utilize some of that stuff for them because they're not they're simple fireground stuff, but nothing, no safety issue. And it's more for training purposes with the Explorer post.
beautiful. Yeah, it's just 5 sets that the chief's asking for, so it's not like we're
Okay.
changing out all 26. It's 5.
Perfect.
Dawn, did you have a chance to talk to Mandy about line 7020-412, which is trees, flowers, and seeds? And that budget is 28,000.
No, unfortunately, I have not had a chance to connect with Mandy.
Okay, I think
I will send her an email.
and just if you could ask if there's an opportunity there. I think at one point we received a grant. I don't know, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but 10 grand or 20 grand to plant trees.
I think it might have been 8 and it was an 18. There
Yeah,
no
that was a
2
while
years. I
ago.
think it was 8 each year. And we
Okay.
did spend that. I think only because I actually questioned when we cut the budget by 8 if it was we were cutting the grant and we weren't. So I remember that just because I asked Joe that question. So 8
And
sticks
then-
in my brain, but so I'm in parks. So trees, flowers, seeds. So we went 27, 26, 41, 25, 25, and we budgeted 28. So we've been in that ballpark
Okay,
right along. I don't know what opportunities. It seems like we've, except for the spike in 17, and I don't know why we were up to 41 and 17. That might have been some of the grant money because the grant revenue was put up top.
well, that might have been for the ash borer treatment,
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
I think, but okay.
So I only have one question with regards to Fire Department 202. Under Sean's cuts, he had 25,200. So if he was under the understanding that that was for body armor, we're gonna have to take that off then, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
Okay. I just made that orange. Okay. That puts us at 6.03 levy and 5.91 tax rate. Just to keep a running total.
What was that?
603 for the levy and 591 for the tax rate.
And that includes the 15,000 for the street lighting.
Yes.
Okay. All right, what else? Bill, can you give us an update on what was spent on diesel and unleaded?
Let me get over there. Okay. Right now, I know they have another order coming, but right now we're at 38 for gasoline and 53 for diesel. But another order, I think they're fairly, I mean, when they load the tanks, we'll probably have a little bit left there this year. I know I've spoken to Joe about using some of that to move for unexpected repairs to some of the trucks. We've had some leaks and some other repairs to some of the Packers and some of the vehicles. So,
Okay.
but I have a feeling right now we're running at 76,000 left in fuel, but that tomorrow Gina could put a bill in. So,
Okay.
And I think when he came in to talk with us, he had mentioned that he was
Right,
going to use that overage to cover some of the other
Pay for-
line
yeah.
shortfalls.
right. All right, anything else?
I don't know. I just hope this is the best we can do for the residents. It's not something that we're missing, or we're in that careful balancing act between having to reduce service and having to raise taxes. I don't know. I don't know if there's more we could be doing, or if there's more we should be doing, or I don't know.
Dave, did you have a chance to talk to the chief about an opportunity with the vehicles? I know when he met with us, he said there was a potential opportunity. Basically, we're kicking the can down the road. My words, not his, but did you have a chance to talk to him?
So when I spoke to him, I did have a few questions about that. We're replacing vehicles that, I don't know. I thought the mileage was low, and they're relatively new, and could we do it, and should we be doing that? The only issue that was put back onto my plate was there's a significant trade-in value at this point for trading them in before they get too big. One of the vehicles was involved in the shooting.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, that vehicle that was involved in the shooting was one of the newer ones. So they've done what they could, but I think that they're hoping to get those vehicles, especially on the trade-in value, and then the purchase price of the new going up. So that's where we had left it. I can reopen that discussion again. I have no problem doing that.
And that might be part of the B and the C, have that there as if the revenue truly starts declining again with the COVID, that might be an area you can look at it.
Correct.
I kind of have a stupid thought here. Bill, would there be any benefit to moving those vehicles, or maybe one or two vehicles, into the Capitol?
It's harder because they're going on the 2-year cycle, that it's such a quick turnaround with the usage, that if it goes to Capitol, they might give it a 3-year life. So you're almost paying for it when you're rolling the
Twice.
vehicles over.
Longer than we have.
Even the same cost. You're just paying interest on top of it.
Yeah, good thought.
So for the way they treat those vehicles, a fire vehicle has a longer life, you hope. They're usually 10 to 15 to 20 years. A police vehicle seems the active cars are 2. So it's just hard to put a life on that.
Good thought.
And the way that it was explained to me is, they may only have 20,000 miles on them, but they do run almost continuously from the time that they're taken delivery of till the time that they get rid of them.
Yeah, and they're all city miles, so.
City miles, they do get as much maintenance as possible. They are basically an oil change every week. It's
Yeah.
preventative maintenance, and they've kind of strung that along even this year to save some money. But again, it's the same thing with the getting the body armor for the fire department. We want our guys to be protected. We want them to feel safe. We want them to have all the equipment they need for every possible thing that could come down the road. And to me, stuff like that is one of the things that you just kind of do, because it could mean somebody's life. It could mean saving somebody. And so, for the cost of, the 20,000, 26,000 for the body armor, or the, 30,000 for a police vehicle, I think that's something that is last case scenario for cutting, that should be in there. And, those guys ran to those vehicles when they were being fired upon for
Yeah,
protection. So I think
Totally
that's,
agree.
you know, long story is longer. I think if the fire guys are asking for those, for the body armor, we get it for them. And if the police are asking for a fire truck, the police are asking for cars, we get it for them.
Right.
Just keep them
Right.
safe.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't know if there was an advantage of putting it in the capital, but Bill's right. It's not. So I agree. Anybody have anything else?
No, leasing was always talked about. I know Joe never liked leasing at all, but is there actual lease opportunity for police cars or no? No, if so, what would it cost us?
I can get those numbers. You figure after trade-in, a police car costs us somewhere in the mid-20s. If you're turning over 2 years, I don't know what we have to pay for the mileage for the usage. I would imagine Chief Strasburg has a number for that. I really wouldn't want to hazard a guess because I'm sure it's a special pricing structure. It's not just your average lease. But
It's a good thought, though. I like that. If we, you want me to ask about it, or Bill, do you want to do that?
I can run it by just to have an answer. Usually a lease structure is the cost of the vehicle less what they feel the turn-in value is plus an imputed interest rate. So you're buying that part of the car the first 2 years. So if the car is, if their trade-in's 11, and we're buying the difference, you figure it's probably 10 grand a year. So I'm sure he has an answer. I'll look for it and ask him what it is.
Yeah, I know we visited the issue a few years back and it wasn't.
I remember
wasn't
talking to
ever-
Joe about fire trucks because that was again, it's a longer life term. There's a different value. They tend to hold their value. I think the police cars, because you're buying from sale price to value left after, it's almost the cost of the police car that we actually end up paying. Divide that by 24 months, and that's what your monthly payment would be. And I'm sure I'll get that from Chief Strasburg.
What else? I just want to thank the council. I know we've literally lived and breathed this for the past 6 weeks. We've met every Tuesday. We did such a great job of coming up with proposals that, it's so hard to predict what 2021 is going to bring, and certainly 2020 we've had our challenges, and kudos to you and Bill and the department heads, and we all came together to come up with what I feel are some good ideas leading us into 2021. And Sean, good job with putting this together and taking the
Thank you.
lead. And I love the idea of the contingency line. We control what happens to that. That's up to us. So with so much uncertainty, it's such a fluid situation with COVID. Who knows what next week is going to bring us? So it's always difficult to talk about a budget in October, November when things are changing. So you guys did such a great job with this and reaching out to the department heads, and all in all, we can explain to the residents that we certainly did our due diligence on this, and I know how much time you've spent away from your families and all that. So, thank you for doing that. And Bill traveling on his anniversary and spending time with the council, and you guys have put your heart and soul into this, and It's evident.
Still very, I don't know, for me personally, it's difficult to say to residents, you're 6%, with everything that they've been through,
I agree.
you know, job wise. But at some point, we have to make that tough decision to either cut services or cut people here in the city, or hopefully, like Sean said, put some money away for a rainy day, which could be tomorrow or January 1st, or, you know, and hopefully with being able to do this, we'll be able to look forward to righting the ship and get everybody what they need and keep everybody safe. So Sean, congratulations, and everybody else, it's been a pleasure working with you.
And just keep in mind, come February, I mean, we could reevaluate things and say, wait a minute, we have to do all these budget amendments. And
Let's hope it's the other way this year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Anything else? All right, let's just go around the room real quick. Tom, do you have anything?
No, I don't think so. I touched on stuff I was, want to talk about with fire. So other than that, Sean, yeah, thank you for putting a lot of that work in. It was very well organized.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have, really. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Dawn?
I just want to give a shout out to, all of you guys as well. We have all worked tirelessly for our city. I mean, we've gone over the budget numerous times. We've all been here before. Unfortunately, this is one of the hardest things that we have to do. And not knowing what's going to happen from here until January makes it even difficult. I don't want to say it, but I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a shutdown soon again, which I really don't want to see. And, unfortunately, 3 local restaurants in North Tonawanda that are closing? Crazy Jake's being one of them. You have Brownies, and then today I also read that Sawyer Creek, unfortunately, we're closing due to COVID. So, I don't want to see our residents lose, because we are part of them, losing, what we have and what we take for granted on a daily basis, like our trash being picked up, our leaves being taken care of, when we call and things get taken care of. So kudos to all of you guys, for working on this hard budget. And I just hope the residents understand, we're trying our due diligence here. That's all I have.
Thanks, Dawn. Sean?
Just to piggyback on what everybody else said, it's been a lot of work over the past couple months. I think everybody's done a great job. And again, the credit I take for this is just kind of organizing it together. Everybody else kind of put everything in here. Obviously I missed some things. Jenna found some things, and I think this just kind of builds on the idea of that the budget A, budget B, budget C, but rather have something all in one, so we can stick by it over the next year. Great work, everybody, and thanks for it's been great to be a part of it this year. So I'm glad we can pass on a little bit to our residents. Hopefully we can plateau over the next year or two as we keep working away at it.
Yeah, I think, it's important to just add, this was a total team effort from the department heads on down. A lot of us, had pie in the sky ideas, and, we took it and ran with it. And, I think ultimately where we're at, we can always reevaluate in a couple months. And, I just hope everybody's safe and well, and that's really what's important. And we can, pride ourselves on the fact that we have amazing services in our community, and we're going to continue with those services, and we're going to make sure that they have the resources that they need to respond to those calls and be there for our residents.
Absolutely.
Bill, did you have anything?
No, I'm fine. I'll get those together and confirm that's what you want. We'll have it together for next Tuesday.
Okay. And again, if any other council member has any additional thoughts, just, shoot it to the group and we can go from there. But, we'll be expected to adopt the budget at our next meeting at this next Tuesday. Jim, and you'll work with Bill on the resolution?
We'll get the resolution for Tuesday. The only other resolution we have right now is the Ride for Roswell for next year.
Okay,
It is being pushed back. The Ride for Roswell is usually done in June, but they're slating to have the Ride for Roswell in August of next year. Again, depending on everything else that's going on with COVID, who knows for sure, but at this point, that's what we have for the resolutions.
Actually to that, I'd like the council to consider amending the resolution that we passed waiving the readings, just in an effort to be more transparent, especially since our meetings are virtual. Not many of our residents may have access to the agenda. Do we agree that, for the interim, we can read the resolutions with the exception of the 6-page, the 6 paragraphs or the bond resolutions? Those we can waive, but everybody in agreement for that?
Sure.
Sure.
Absolutely. Hey,
Okay,
like you
so-
said, for the maybe the abridged version for some of those long ones.
Right,
I have a quick question.
yes.
I'm more of a Google guy, so I'm not too familiar with Zoom. But is there a way in the Zoom backend to add attachments so that we could add the attachment of the agenda to the Zoom meeting itself?
Sean, do
Yeah.
you know that?
Yeah, we could do it a couple different. I think we can either add the file on there, or we can again add a link to where the agenda is, so somebody could open it. I think a lot of us share it weekly when we put it out there, send a link to it, but it wouldn't hurt to add an additional link to it in the comment section of the meeting.
Yeah, so if it was here when they joined, they could have their own virtual copy of it, download it, print it, do what they need to do.
Sure. Oh, I don't. Bill, I know we played around with it a little bit with your
We can do a
Your-
slideshow of it too. There's ways
yeah.
to
I mean,
do
could you
that.
kind of keep it up and as a secondary window so people could see it as well?
And Bill, not to add more onto your plate, but with the proposals that we have on the table, can you amend whatever you put together that shows the house with what it costs the homeowners
Yes.
for the services?
The slideshow.
The slideshow, thank you.
That was awesome.
anytime.
Yeah.
It's a
so
great
if we could
slide,
just-
Bill.
It really is awesome.
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right, so I'll put that together. I'll have it Thursday afternoon.
Perfect.
I'll look at it.
Perfect.
And just a quick point of order, Madam President.
Yes.
I just got a notification, just to kind of put it into perspective. We do a lot of shared services with surrounding communities, and one of them being Amherst. And I just got a notification here. Their budget that they just passed is 8% increase this year. So,
Wow.
for us to be 2.5% underneath that, without reducing services and looking to other communities to help us with maintaining our services, I think it kind of puts it into perspective how we're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I know we talked about this before. Other municipalities are looking at double-digit increases. So we've been very, very mindful of that. And I think we've done a really good job, given what we have in front of us and all the uncertainties. I'm proud of you guys.
Yeah, you guys are a good team. I'm proud to work with you.
Me too.
Likewise.
Same, guys.
Aw, shucks.
Group hug.
Yeah, right, right. So Jim, if you could just have that resolution for our next meeting as well, amending or rescinding the waiving of the resolutions.
Yeah, it was part of our agenda at the beginning of the year.
Right,
So it was, but yeah, we'll make that resolution.
okay. And then if we can somehow put the agenda in our Zoom so that the residents have that at their fingertips, that would be great. Anything else?
Stay
All right.
safe, everybody.
Everybody be safe,
Thanks.
stay well,
Absolutely.
You as well.
have a great week. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second,
second.
Madam President.
Seconded by Mr. Newman. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Be safe.
Bye.
Okay, take care. I'm ending the meeting.